What's up, everybody? Bootsy Greenwood here. Please give me a follow on patreon.com. I've got a bunch of free stuff over there, as well as I do stuff for the folks who patron me, and the deepest gratitude to all of you who do. I was just on Lindsay Zimmerman's Better Than podcast. Please give that a listen. And I'm trying to get around more and more and talk to as many people as I possibly can, because there's a lot of really good, valuable information, and I think we can all team up and work together to try and find solutions that are elegant and simple in these interesting times that we find ourselves in, right? So I'm talking about Tufti. Tufti the Priestess. She's a feisty firecracker. We're getting to the point now where we're talking about inner intention and outer intention, and this is something that I think is very cool and very interesting, and you'll find other people talk about these ideas in different ways. Inner intention being this try hard sort of method, right? That we're using our own willpower, that we're burning up and we're trying, and that is here in our frontal prefrontal cortex. That's a very human way of trying to create reality, let's say. But then there's also outer intention as well, which I would consider part of the big will, right? Big W, or capitalized W, which has a lot to do with basically, like I would say, like the creator's will, right? And so here's what's interesting about it. If you read a book like Outwitting the Devil, for instance, the creator's will is never going to push you or try and trick you or manipulate you or coerce you into doing what its will is. It's something that you personally have to seek. And, then the little will is just, what you want, your little thing that now you can have both of these, and that's what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about, bringing these two worlds together so that the things that you would like to have in your reality and can be satiated, as well as reality itself, or from the big meta view. In Outwitting the Devil, Napoleon Hill says, just like I said in the last video, has 98 out of 100 people's minds under its control. It's all based on being mannequin, just being influenced by whatever the main social narrative is. That is just, you just allow yourself. It's deterministic. It's pushing. It's like this force that if you allow yourself to succumb to it, you could basically just sleepwalk through life, and that's basically all you're gonna do is just be the script's prisoner, for lack of a better way to say it, right? So within this script, and the script is very powerful, right? We need to figure out how to wake up, how to see ourselves, see reality, be present, but compose the future. So that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. So big will, little will. Little will is that part of you that's like, well, I want this, and I want that, and blah, 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 blah. And I want to see my life, blah, 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 blah. Big will, though, is really clicking in and saying, okay, what is it that the world needs? Okay, what are my skills, and how can I provide what I can identify that the world needs? There's a lot of things that the world needs. There's information that the world needs. There are ideas that the world needs. There are all kinds of things, and I'm sure, depending on what your skill set is, you have your own ideas. That's what we're talking about here, right? Little will is like, well, I want, chocolate sprinkles on my ice cream. Big will is, oh boy, we really need to focus on such and such. Let me see if I, can provide some information or a way to get us onto this path. This is going to help not just me, but also all of humanity. And it's a win, 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 right? 3 wins, right? That's outer intention. That's what we want to go for. So inner intention is very selfish. There's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. But then also, dude, can you imagine the satisfaction that you can have when you satiate what the world needs, as well as you're able to do the thing that you enjoy doing? I don't think there's a better reality than that. Now, what she starts talking about is presence and past. Now, the present, contrary to popular belief, it's already been created. If you've seen the Kabbalion stuff that I've done, cause and effect. Every cause has an effect. Every effect has a cause. And there are multitudes of causes. There's so many variables that we can't even understand with our conscious mind that have already added up to create this reality that we find ourselves in now. Okay, all of these causes and all of these effects. So most of us go through life and we try to use inner intention to change the now. But the now's already been created. There's no way we could change the now because we're already here. It already exists, right? So what do we want to do? We want to focus on the future. We want to compose a reality, illuminate the frame that we want to see by using our plate, visualize our outcome, and then of course take action. So there's been a lot of videos on the plate or the plait or the braid or whatever you want to call it. This is also synonymous with Carlos Castaneda's assemblage point. And then there are other people who have talked about this sort of spiritual appendage, this phantom limb, if you will. Now, the first thing that I want to say is if you don't sense this or feel it or whatever, that's not a problem. You're okay. You're fine. It's not essential. The point is that we're not trying to do this in the conventional way that is very finite and forceful and coercive, right? Like that's what this little will does. It manipulates, right? It tries to coerce reality and force, right? This is force. This is power. Okay, because we are working with the creator to create something like this. Okay, we are assessing the world. We are listening to our inner voice, and we are saying, what is it that the world needs, and how can I use my skill set to contribute to what the world needs? This is where we're at. We want power, right? We don't want force. Force is so passé, and it's really not that powerful. Okay, so here we are. This is one film roll, right? All the past and the present stuff is leading up to what is going to happen in the future. All the stuff that got us to where we are here, we already created. Or, based on Napoleon Hill's book, Outwitting the Devil, we didn't create, and thus here we are, slaves to the script, right? So because we didn't compose our future frame, now we're stuck in this reality now that's not exactly favorable. And what most of us are going to try to do is change our present circumstances with our little will and manipulate and coerce and force. And it's not going to work. It's going to blow up in our face. That's not the proper way to compose the future frame. Now, as far as this frame goes, there are infinite film rolls, right? And they're like, let's think of them like stacked on top of each other, right? Here's one, 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 all the way infinite. There are infinite rolls of film. So we might find ourselves on this lifeline right now. But what do we want our future one to be? We want it to be this one? Okay, cool. So what do we need to do? We need to use outer intention to propel ourselves toward this reality up here, right? And the way we do that is we do want to be present. I'm not talking smack about presence. When people talk about presence, that's very important. If you're not present, you're not going to be able to compose. That's just the reality of it. You're going to be stuck in the inner or outer screen, and you're not going to be in the center screen, which is presence, right? So we've already covered that a little bit. I see myself and I see reality. I've got one foot in the physical, one foot in the metaphysical world, right? Right and left, right? The dualism, right? We are aware of the entire sphere, not just one part of it, not just inside, not just outside, but both simultaneously, right? So at this point, we use visualization, which Maxwell Maltz talks a ton about, to visualize the reality that we want in our upcoming future frame. So one thing that he says, and I don't know that I 100% agree with this, but I think it's mostly true, is that there's no difference in experiencing something in a visualization versus experiencing it in reality. Now, I think the two are close. I think that one basically Like visualization is part of prolonged exposure, right? Like getting more and more used to the reality that you want and allowing yourself to have. And then remember that I gave some releasing exercises that can help you get over that hump and release importance and let go of that so that you can conceive the reality of it. That's what's really holding most of us back from what we really want in our lives. And what we really want, I think, or for me, is I want to be part of this major big will here, and because that's win-win-win, right? That's me getting to do the things that I want to do while also serving the greater power, the positive sort of force that I would call maybe God or whatever. Call it what you will. I think God's a fine term. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. The universal spirit, the universal heartbeat. There's a lot of ways to say it. But, you know, if we don't compose the future, we find ourselves stuck in a reality that we have basically no control over. We are basically being thought, we're being breathed, we're being, you know, used, for lack of a better way, to just continue on this hypnotic rhythm and create this reality that we don't really benefit from, right? And also, what is greater also doesn't benefit from. So we want to be able to serve a higher purpose as well as our own. This is where the fusion comes in. This is what, like, awesome. This is the awesome power or of creation, right? Power, not force, remember? So, all right, so just to recap here. So now already exists. Most of us are here now, and we're trying to change our now with our little will, inner intention, by forcing and fighting, and really, guess what you're doing? Just making it worse. Now, when we let go of control and we ask the world what it needs, and also we're like, what do I want to do, right? And then we fuse these worlds together. Then we start operating with this higher will, right? See, the positive force of love and nature is never going to be forceful. It is a power that we must access and tap into and use. It's never going to push you, right? Whereas the script and this hypnotic rhythm is absolutely pushing you. And in order to break out of this, we have to start challenging it and saying, hey, where's my power? What does the world need? How can I serve outer intention? And what is it that I want to be doing? Like, these are all great questions, right? So anyway, now has already been created through past causes and effects. So what we want to do is compose the future frame by illuminating it, seeing it in our mind, and we illuminate it. We try to focus on our plate, which clicks us into outer intention. If you can feel it, great. If you can't, no big deal. It's fine. The same thing. Visualization, and then take action, right? If I want to talk to certain people on my podcast, then I need to actually reach out to them, right? That's part of it, right? But when I say, what does the world need? The world needs to fuse certain ideas together, I think. I think that's what my heart is telling me. I'm pretty clear on it. Then it's time for me to sit down, focus on it. What does this look like? Am I comfortable with this? Is there anything that I need to get out of me so that I can accept this reality for truth, for what it is, and take action and feel, comfortable and confident as I navigate? And then at that point, I take those actions, and then these realities begin to unravel as one of these film rolls as I continue to focus on the future frame. Remember, I'm present now, absolutely. That's what allows me to compose the future. But being present is not going to fix the future, right? Being present allows you to be present in this moment, and it gives you a lot of power in this moment. But if you don't use that to compose the future, then you're not doing anything other than just being aware, which is great. We need to start there, but we also want to contribute to the future film roll and create the best possible future frame that we possibly can for ourselves and the rest of humanity. So that does it for this this video on Tufti. I'm definitely taking some of my own ideas and fusing them in, and I hope that's all right with you guys. I think it's a very pivotal time in the world, and one where we all need to be very vigilant, aware, and hopeful, optimistic, positive. Please check me out on Patreon. I've got like podcasts and different things that I'm doing over there, and I can talk about stuff on Patreon that YouTube doesn't very much like. So so please check me out over there, patreon.com/BootsyGreenwood. I'm also on Gumroad. I've got free stuff over there at gumroad.com/BootsyGreenwood.